The second thing to go is 2020's Victor Math.
Yeah.
So, measures of central tendency is a really fancy description for mean, median, mode, which should be at least familiar to you. It's okay if you don't remember exactly at this moment. A lot of people tell me that mean means average, but it's really just another word for average, kind of like a fancy word and a regular word. What it means, does anybody happen to know what mean means? Drake.
All the numbers added up and then divided by how many numbers there is.
That's how to find it. So add, if you're a big writer, write small in this box. Add all data, then divide by number of data. So if you have 7 numbers in your list, you would add them all up and divide by 7. If you have 3 numbers in your list, you would add them all up and divide by 3. What the mean means, we might come back to that one. Okay, what about median? Maddie.
Is it the number in the middle?
Good! It means middle. And how are you going to find it?
You put all the numbers in order from like smallest to largest, and then you cross them off till you get the middle.
Write small again. Order numbers from small to big. Then cross out the ends. Don't worry if you're not quite sure what that looks like. We will do some examples. How about mode? Bryn?
Is that where you put them all from like small to this?
That was mode.
Oh, oops. Okay. I don't know.
Mode, anybody? Occurring. Do you think occurring has 2 R's?
I don't know what that means.
Most often occurring. Hard to tell. Here's how I remember it. Mo. Both of them start with mo. Most, mode. Pete?
The number that shows up the most.
Right. Do you know how to find it?
You just look at the
Yeah,
numbers
I
and
know.
which one, like, if you give like 5 fives.
Just look for it. Which one shows up the most?
I'm making exams.
Nice. Questions on those 3? We're going to go back to that means box. So these 3, mean, median, mode, those were the measures of central tendency. They help you find something towards the center or the middle for median. There's one other data word down below. It's not in the box because it doesn't help you find the middle, but it is a data word. Range, anybody? Pete?
I think it's if you just add all of them up, I think. I can't remember range.
Good guess. Drake?
You take the highest number minus by the lowest number, and that's your range.
I said the difference, but guess what difference means? Subtract, just like Drake said. Subtract the greatest, he said biggest, and the least, he said small. Values in the data set. Any of those desks over there will work, Weston? Oh. Thank you, sir. I think Miss Ann maybe has a piece. So we do subtract and we get a number, but it's not really related to the central or the middle in any way. Are we okay so far? I'm still going to go back to that mean box in a minute. In the bottom right box, do you see where we are? Yeah. Leave this one empty. We're going to use it in a minute. In the bottom right box, this SEL is having a readathon. How many pages can they read in 1 week? Nick read 40 pages. Bettina read 45. Kyle read 48. Larry read 50. Marita read 50. Latana read 59. We can answer these 4 data values by using those numbers. Any ideas? Good job. You do not have to go in order.
For the mode is different
How come?
because 50 showed up and all numbers showed up once.
That was a great explanation. She said 50 showed up twice. All the other numbers showed up once. So it's really easy to write down the mode is 50. I'm in this bottom right box. Are you in this bottom right box? Sophie, can you talk about another one?
I can't see.
They're the same numbers as on here.
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad she said this. Did you hear that? These were already in order. That was nice. Cross out the ends. So 40 and 59 get crossed out. 45 and 50 get crossed out. And now she says there's 2 numbers in the middle. Bryn?
You did 49.
Oh, right. So the middle of those 2 numbers is 49. Zach, wait.
What's that word at the bottom? D.
This one?
Yeah.
Range. Also be careful with median. Sometimes people get so excited with their crossing out. They just get so excited and so happy. But what went wrong?
There's 3 on one side.
Right. So I should cross them out in equal amounts, not 3 crossed out on this side and 2 crossed out on this side. Zach Hellstrom, do you have anything to say about mean or range?
The range is 19.
How'd you get that?
I did 59 minus 40.
Are we okay so far? Question, Layton, or you know?
Don't you have to times 19? How many times there's
Nope, not for range, you just subtract. I think you're gonna think of mean right here. Drake,
I guess it's mean.
what do we do?
Added all the numbers and then divided by how many numbers there are.
How many are there?
6.
Okay, and here's a trick that I always do for adding them. You don't have to add them in the exact order that you see them. Adding commutative property, you can add out of order. For example, I really like 50 and 50 next to each other because that's a nice number. And then the next two nicest, I think 40 and 45 go together pretty nice.
85.
See? So have a little bit of a strategy happening, not just random numbers. My last two are 48 and 59, which make 107. How's my math? Is anybody checking my math? 2 people are so far. Okay, I guess I'll add again. 100, 107, 85. Oh, 207 and 85. And then divide by 6. Now, just because we haven't practiced dividing for a while doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It's actually a good reason to do it. Weston, does 6 fit into 2?
No.
Zach Boyd, does 6 fit into 29?
Yes.
Can you remember how many?
5 times. 4 times.
A tiny bit too much. 5 will be 30.
4 times.
Addison, 6 into 52. Do you remember what 6 times 8 is?
No.
It rhymes.
48.
Oh, need a decimal. Oh, need a 0. It's a good reason to practice. Savannah, how many 6s fit into 40?
6.
Do you remember what that equals? I'm running out of room. Are you running out of room? Oh, repeating? Who remembers what a repeating 6 is? Ellie? 2/3. 48 and 2/3 is the same as 48. Are you ready for what it means? Bryn?
I have a guess.
Okay.
The average of all numbers.
What does average mean?
Mean.
Right, what does mean mean?
The average.
There are 2 words that mean the same thing. What is it is the question. What it means is if all of the data values were the same. So if Nick wasn't 40 and Bettina wasn't 45 and Kyle wasn't 48, if each person read exactly the same amount, it would be 48 and 2/3. So each person would have read exactly the same amount. Sophie, you're looking at me kind of funny. If, and I'm going to show you why if in a minute. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to do this. If all data was evened out the same, data was evened out the same. If everyone read the same amount of pages. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like when you were reading The Outsiders, and everybody read to 5 pages, and Mr. Kelly said, stop! Everyone must read the same amount. Stop at 5 pages. Some people would be like, yes, he told me to stop. And other people are like, oh, I want to know what happens next. So it doesn't always make sense to read the same amount of pages. This is just if they were all going to read the same amount of pages. Am I explaining it okay so far? Questions? So far, so good. Shout now. The next question is a weird one. Is anybody an only child?
An only child. It's a man, like,
I really needed them for my next data.
well, I'm gonna be a single child in a few years. My daughter's gonna
You're not going to be an only child ever. It's too late for
I
that.
will just adopt him.
Right.
So give him up for adoption. That's what
Allie, including you, how many kids are at your house? And you make 3? Okay, so these green cubes are the kids at Allie's house. Savannah, 4? These blue cubes are the kids at Savannah. Addison, even if they don't live at your house.
Or well, one. Just one.
So you and your sister?
Mm-hmm.
These white cubes are Addison and her sister. Drake?
6.
Yes, I needed you, Drake.
Just 5 other siblings. Oh, 4, but we adopted one, so. Oh my god, it's hard having one brother.
I have that in
And I don't ever even see one. It's in the basement.
So that question, is it you and your sister?
Well, you want me to include both my houses?
Doesn't matter, you can.
And then I have like 6 siblings.
6 altogether? Yes, I needed you too.
Is your mom like pregnant? Did you say please if you like have a sibling?
Good. Sophie, is it 5? Okay, so here's my families. Not my families, your family. And then, this is another time it doesn't quite make sense. If all of the data was evened out, that means that, who was my 2? Addison? Drake, you gotta give some kids to Addison's house, because you have too many at your house. And Zach, you gotta get rid of 1 person, you gotta vote him out. So that we even out all of the people. But it doesn't get quite even, right? So that's why if you read the newspaper, it'll say something like, the average American house has 2.3 kids. Well, is there really 0.3 of a kid somewhere?
I mean, there could be like the dead body in the basement.
Then we'd have to hire Maddie and her for anything. So what it means, this one is gonna be 4 point something, because a lot of houses have 4. Ooh, Sophie, your family gets to stay intact. And these 2 have a little bit more with 5, so we're in between 4 and 5, 4 point something. Do you see what I mean by that? Now, it doesn't make sense in this situation, because Drake's family stays at Drake's house and Zach's family stays at Zach's house. But if they were going to even out, some people would have to move. Does that make a little more sense now? Okay, in that last empty box, let's write down.
If you needed a single kid or a only child, does Taylor have any siblings? Who? In our class?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he has at least 2 sisters, I think, maybe more. Who is my green family? Allie? In that last box, also, if you are, like, Pete could put himself here for 3, right, Pete? So you can replace your name too when it gets to your number. And then who was my 4? Savannah. Addison. Drake. You can replace your name if you have one of these numbers.
What? Do we need to write all the names?
Ready, go.
What if there's 2 numbers that are like right next to each other and
Allison, are there any of these you want to talk about?
I have everyone except me.
Okay, so pick one this time.
For the median, I got 4.
The median of 4?
Yeah.
What do we think? Other people get 4?
No, 4.5.
yeah, I got 4.3.
Check. 2, 3,
Oh, wait, no,
4, 5, 6, 6.
Oh, didn't do much later.
Yeah, I talked about you.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I did it from going rid of them.
That's okay. This is called learning, Allison. So right in the middle of 4 and 5, 4.5. Ellie, do you want to talk about a different one?
The range is 4.
How'd you get that?
6 minus 2.
Maddie, mode or mean?
Mode,
Which is?
6.
That's kind of unusual, actually. Not many people have that many. Hey, if just for a minute, if Zach's family moved, what's the mode then?
297. It'd be, 4.
Right, there wouldn't be one. So sometimes you can say no mode. If there isn't one there, you can write no mode.
Oh,
But luckily for us, Zach is not moving, the mode is 6. Bryn.
I have mean.
Ooh,
I got, 4.3 repeating.
does anybody remember what a repeating 3 means?
1/3.
Good. Remember, that's why some people had to move houses. So more than 4, but not 5, so in between. Is there a third of a person at Savannah's house? Is there a third of a person?
Yeah.
No. It's an if. If you could even out people, which you can't. If it was money though, could you even out money?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have some cents at some house and some cents, 33 cents at another house. Did I have? Let's see. Well, 4 and, whoops, that's not what I mentioned. 4 and 6 make 10.
Plus 2.
2, 3, 5 make 10. So are we at 26? Divided by 6.
Oh, I forgot to add. How mean.
Kicked Addison right out. That's okay.
It's okay. I didn't forget about you.
Are we getting the idea?
I didn't. So, I was about